Hello, my Renew fam, and welcome back to my channel where I empower you to change the way you view yourself, your circumstances, and your life. In today's video, we'll be discussing the difference between therapy and coaching. As we know, coaching is now the new buzz. Everyone is becoming a coach. You have your life coaches, your transformation coaches, and everyone is getting in the coaching space. However, the danger to this is that a lot of coaches are using coaching as a substitute for therapy. And that's the first thing I will say in this video. Coaching is not a substitute for therapy. Okay, I myself am a licensed therapist and a mindset coach, but I cannot use those two services synonymously because they are two different things. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you 6 major differences between therapy and coaching. Accreditation. In order to provide therapy services or to be a therapist, you have to have a state license, which means you had to go to school for counseling, psychology, social work, had to take a state exam, pass it, and become licensed via the state that you reside in. However, as of currently, there is no license required for coaching. However, you can get a certification in coaching, but that is totally different from a license. So once you get a license, you are then bound by the ethical guidelines of your licensing body. But there is currently no license required for the coaching space. Therapists can treat mental illness. Coaches do not. Therapists can provide diagnosing. They can refer you out for medication management if needed. However, a coach cannot diagnose. They cannot treat mental illness because they'll be operating outside of the realm of their expertise. Now, I have seen mental health coaches and people that present themselves as mental health coaches. I don't know what type of accreditation or credentialing they have for that, but that is a very slippery slope because for therapy, again, therapists treat mental illness, they deal with diagnosing, and they treat you from the basis of your diagnosis. So if a coach is providing that service, I'll be a little weary of how they're doing that because currently right now, coaches should not be providing services for mental illness and mental health when there's a diagnosis involved, an active diagnosis involved. You may want to be a little careful with that if you see a coach that is providing that service and they are not a licensed therapist. Therapists deal with the past to the present, while coaches work from the present to the future. Now, what I mean by that is most times when you go for therapy, your therapist is going to want a lot of historic information on you so they can see, are there any patterns from previous ways that you thought about things, previous traumas, previous experiences that are currently impacting the way you navigate life currently today. So therapists work from past to present. They're looking into your past, looking for patterns of behavior, patterns of negative thought, patterns of experiences to see how that mirrors your present. However, with a coach, they start with where you are right now to get you to where you want to be. And that is how coaching and therapy are a little bit different because coaches are more so goal-oriented in their way of engaging with their clients. Therapy is more so long-term, while coaching is more so short-term. And because, as I've said, that therapy requires the therapist to delve into your past and see how you have, if you have any negative patterns of behavior or traumatic experiences and how that's impacting you right now. That takes some time and it takes some work. So therefore, therapy is more long-term than coaching because coaching is more goal-oriented. Coaching is all about what you, the client, want to achieve, and you're totally in charge of what to talk about in coaching. Today, you can talk about starting a business. Tomorrow, you may have a question about navigating your relationship more effectively. Coaching is all about you and what you want to achieve in that space of time that has been set aside for your coaching. Payment for services. Therapy, of course, you can pay for therapy or bill it through your Medicaid or your insurance because insurance and Medicaid does cover therapy services. However, insurance and Medicaid does not cover coaching at this current time. There is no Medicaid provider or insurance provider that is going to cover or pay for coaching. So therapy can be covered by insurance or Medicaid. Coaching, however, will have to come out of your pocket, which is why most coaches are private pay. For a therapist who is licensed, they can only provide services in the state wherein they are licensed. So if you're licensed in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, you can only practice in North Carolina, South Carolina, or Florida. Whereas a coach can practice anywhere in all the United States, in every country. There is no limitation to a coach because there is no licensing body. There is only credentialing. Therefore, a coach can provide services more broadly than a therapist can because a therapist is confined to their state. Well, guys, that is all the tips that I have for you today. Those were 6 differences between therapy and coaching. I hope that you learned something from this video and that now you are able to tell the difference between therapy and coaching services. Again, as a licensed therapist and a coach, I provide both services in my practice. So again, if you have any additional questions about therapy versus coaching, leave them in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Again, thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one.